Every person is God.
He has taught us that prema, true love, should be considered the very breath of life.
I have come to reestablish the rhythm of righteousness in the world. And he says it does not matter the name or form in which you are attracted to and prefer to worship, whether it's Christ or Krishna or Buddha or Muhammad. The name and the form, he says, is not important. The important thing is the heart. There being only one religion, and that being the religion of love. I know that.
One gift through his mouth.
All the 5 elemental substances which constitute the creation, they are present in this Prithvi Lingam.
Shivaya Namo, Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya Namo, Om Namah Shivaya. Shivaya, Shivaya Namo, Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya Namo, Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya, Shivaya Namo, Om Namah 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 Shivaya. Shivaya, Shivaya Namo, Om Namah 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 Shivaya, Shivaya Namo. Prabhu Vitthala, Jai Panduranga, Prabhu Vitthala, Jai Panduranga, Prabhu Vitthala, Jai Panduranga, Prabhu Vitthala,
Jagat. First, that he is the messenger of God. He said, I am the messenger of God. Not only me here, all of you are the messengers of God. So every human being is a messenger of God.
తానే ఒక విధమైనటువంటి యజమానుడిగా భావించి ఈ మెసెంజర్ అనేటువంటి యొక్క అర్థమును విరుద్ధంగా మారిపోతూ వచ్చింది.
But he has forgotten this truth and man
సత్యాన్ని అభివృద్ధిగా ఉంచుకుంటూ పోయాడు.
But Yesu propagated this truth only.
మొదట I am the messenger of God అన్నాడు.
The first declaration is I am the messenger of God.
తదుపరి I am the son of God అన్నాడు.
The second statement is
సమీపానికి పోతూ వచ్చాడు భగవంతునకు.
The son of God indicates proximity.
అనగా తండ్రికి కుమారునికి సంబంధ బాంధవ్యం ఉన్నట్టుగా నిరూపించాడు.
It only means there's intimate relationship between father and the son.
మరొక పర్యాయం సాధన సల్పుతూ I and my father are one అన్నాడు.
As he went on doing spiritual endeavor and practice, he declared, I and my father are one.
తదుపరియే Holy Ghost. సమస్తము ఇమిడి ఉంటుండాలి.
In the tiny book, everything is written there.
ఇది ఆ బుక్.
This is that book.
This is the book.
This is the book.
This is it. This is the book.
This is the book, the Bible.
This is
Called Guru by his playmates, he led them in devotional songs before school and fascinated and amused them by materializing candy, pencils, and playthings from an empty bag. The miraculous ability to create objects, transform matter, and heal the sick, which manifested spontaneously in the child, has continued for over 40 years to amaze all who experience it. In May of 1940, 13-year-old Sathya put aside his school books and announced to his startled family that he was the reincarnation of a holy man named Sai Baba of Shirdi, while unknown in the region around Puttapart was born. After revealing his identity in 1940, young Sathya told his parents he belonged with them no longer, explaining his devotees were calling and it was
Master all mankind and ensure for all of them lives full of bliss. I resolve
and great powers. Material objects needed for this avatar's mission will be at his disposal as soon as he will think of them. He will be victorious with the strength of virtue. He will restore order and peace in the imitate this avatar's conduct, and there will be prosperity and peace. Men will once more betake
The following narration has been drawn from Sai Baba's responses during that interview. As we hear his words, we will see him walking among his devotees at Prashanti Nilayam, accepting their letters and occasionally manifesting Vibhuti ash.
something of God, the divine spark within. All men are divine, like myself, with the spirit embodied in human flesh and bone. The only difference is that they are unaware of this Godhood. They have come into this karmic prison through the mistakes of many lives. I have taken this mortal form out of my own free will. In my present avatar, I have come armed with the fullness of the power of the formless God to correct mankind, raise human consciousness, and put people back on the right path of dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return. Vibhuti constitutes a warning to the receiver to give up desire, to burn all passions, attachments, and temptations in the fire of worship, which makes one pure in thought, word, and deed. It is in order to press home this lesson that I materialize ash for those who come to me with love and devotion. Like the other materializations, it also acts as a talisman, healing the sick and giving protection to those who need it. Quite different from magic trickery. My powers to protect, heal, save people, and materialize objects originate in God and can be used only by an avatar.
An avatar is able to materialize and dematerialize objects, to direct his awareness throughout the cosmos, to move with the speed of light, and use the power of light in his mission. Unencumbered by demands of the body or laws of nature, his consciousness is one with the primal energy of creation, and is, therefore, infinite. To one with infinite consciousness, free even from space and time, what may appear to us as miraculous is the simple interplay of primary forces. Personal interview.
The miracles I perform belong to the boundless power of God. So far as I am concerned, they are evidence of my divinity. It's not by any means an exhibition of divinity. Performances of magic, as you know, are done for the sake of income. These are tricks of the magician's trade. They constitute a kind of legalized cheating, the transfer of an object from one place to another by a trick of the hand which goes unnoticed. They involve no siddhi or miraculous power. What I do is quite a different act of creation. It is neither magic nor a siddhi power either. For one thing, I seek no return. For another, I do not cheat people by transferring objects, but I create them. Again, I do so not because of any need or desire for exhibition of my powers. For me, this is a kind of visiting card to convince people of my love for them and secure their devotion in return. Since love is formless, I use materialization as evidence of my love. It is merely a symbol. Most people desire talismans symbolic of my protection. They are likely to store it and forget about it. These trinkets or talismans give people a sense of security and protection they need in time of trouble or crisis, and create a symbolic link covering the long distances between them and myself. When the devotees need me, these objects flash the message. When the devotees need me, these objects flash the message as if by wireless, and I instantly come to their rescue. I can cure, save, even resurrect people, provided they are in a spiritually receptive condition. It is like the positive and negative currents of electricity. My capacity to
complacency and turning them to the spiritual life. Perhaps the most dramatic of the miracles is the Vibhuti Abhishekam, a manifestation of Vibhuti on a large scale which takes place during Dasara.
Baba's previous incarnation was bathed and wiped dry. The jeweled necklace was produced by Baba by the wave of his hand and placed over the idol. The wooden vessel in the shape of a flower vase was held upside down overhead. Baba started churning the same with his hand inserted into it, throwing out large quantities of vibhuti, pouring from nowhere as it were, and covering the idol with exquisite fragrance. When Baba took out his hand from the upturned vase for a short while, lo and behold, the vibhuti stopped pouring down, as though to convince the doubting ones among the spectators that the otherwise empty vessel needed the divine hand for it to produce the vibhuti. The flow that seems capable of being an unending one starts all over again as soon as Baba puts his hand into the vase. It is on such occasions that logic fails us. For in the confusion, not realizing that he who can produce the vibhuti at will out of an empty vessel can also stop it at will, we begin to wonder more when the flow stops than when it resumes.
Vibhuti of Sai Baba's relationship to science continues to be raised. In the press interview with R.K. Karanjia, Sai Baba spoke to that question.
The formula that nothing can be created out of nothing is appropriate to the limited field and dimensions of science. It does not at all apply to a transcendental field. In that field, anything can be created by the supreme will. All that exists can be made to disappear, and what does not exist can be made to appear.
When asked how the universe was created, Sai Baba, speaking in the context of the eternal divine principle, said,
"There was no one to know who I am until I created the world at my pleasure with one word. Immediately, mountains rose up."
A gentle wave of his hand, Sai Baba materializes vibhuti, giving it as a blessing and for healing. Sai Baba says,
"Come to me with empty hands. I shall fill them with gifts and grace. If your hands are full, to be better women and better citizens. Education must open eyes and enable them to recognize the one behind the many."
Presides over the marriage ceremonies of devotees. Here, he materializes from his hand the sacred symbolic thread as part of the ceremony.
Before getting married, we, this is the real sacred promise. Today there is a tendency of separation, not coming together, Life is full of troubles, of challenges. You should not separate.
He said, this is Christ as he really and truly was, not as artist.
Bound to desire, the self degenerates into selfishness. Atma turns into ego. The way to self-realization is to cleanse the self of this ego. The desires, the threads fall, and the cloth disappears, revealing our true nature, ego, to realize oneself. One is therefore to rise beyond the mind to consciousness, to achieve self-realization, to gain the infinite universal Atma.
What they lack. I have come armed with the fullness of the power of the formless God to correct mankind, raise human consciousness.
From the other children of his village. At the age of 14, he declared to his family and to the people of the village that his mission was to bring about the spiritual regeneration of humanity by demonstrating and teaching the highest principles of truth, right action, peace, and divine love. And 250 medical clinics and more than 100 books in 20 languages have been published on the teachings of Sathya Sai Baba. Members of the Sathya Sai Baba centers from different nations, different
ideas in your hearts. Do not forget God. Do not put faith in the world you see around you. It is changing every second and does not last. And do not be afraid. You are the imperishable soul that knows no fear. I want you also to banish two ideas from your hearts. Forget the harm that anyone has done to you, and forget the good that you have done to others. Them teach love and compassion, humility and forbearance. I bless all of you and ask you to promote love, sympathy, and compassion towards all beings. God is present in every one of them, and it is your duty to revere God in each of them.